I'd like to talk with you today about how to heal your broken heart. What I did, on my side of the street was I'd had years of hurt and trauma. And I was talking to a friend about, I feel like I'm just hanging on to this sadness. And while I've gone through counseling and I've done this work with yoga and some different things to try to see if I could get rid of whatever there was, I still just hung on to it. And I said, I really believe I've forgiven these people. I've wanted to move on. I've gone through all the grieving steps, but I'm still struggling. I said, it's like if my heart was a house and I walk into the house and I've got this house that's empty and it's falling apart and the roof is collapsing and I keep going into this house and I'm shoving these wood beams up on this roof of this house from the inside, trying to keep it from caving in. And in the very back of this house that's like dilapidated, there's a little room that's in pristine shape and it's very nice and decorated beautifully. And that's the only thing that's in good shape in this whole place. I said, I feel like that's my heart. My heart's just this empty, abandoned house with one room. And I said, it's really interesting to me because I don't understand why it's that way. I said, I actually drew a picture, and this is a very rudimentary picture. I'm just going to show you. And it's of a heart. And so this is the heart. And I drew a picture and then separated it by all the different things and people and things that hurt me. And I basically segmented it, sizes and shapes by the level and degree of hurt. And I actually segmented it so that I could see, wow, almost all my heart is damaged. There's one little sliver, which is that room that's decorated, and everything else is damaged. I said, that's sort of how I see myself, and I don't understand why it's that way. So she said, gosh, that's really sad. I said, yeah, it is sort of sad, isn't it? It's really sort of screwed up, that I'm thinking this way. So, we parted ways and I went home and I was sitting in my bed and I literally just said, God, you said Jesus comes into my heart. He comes and lives in my heart. So, what's going on here? Why is this not better? And, God, he's pretty good. Even whenever I'm sort of getting smart aleck with him and talking smack to him, which I do on a regular basis. I'm his little redhead that he thinks, goodness gracious, this girl. But he said in my imagination, which he's given us an imagination, it was very clear. I was transported to that spot in my little art house that's empty, and I'm standing there, and Jesus is standing there with me. And we're in this dilapidated, abandoned house with my wood beams, and I'm trying to hold it together. And I look at him, and I'm like, "Yeah, what is the deal? What's going on here? I need for you to fix this." And he said, okay, well, let's talk about it together. I'm going to help you fix it, but there's going to be some things you need to do. I can't fix it all for you. And I looked at him and he said, I'm going to take all these wood beams down and I'm going to put steel beams up, and I'm going to put the fruit of the spirit up in your heart: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, self-control. I'm going to fix the framework. He goes, but why is your heart empty? Why is your house empty? And because is it because every time someone hurt you, you just threw them out, threw everything good, bad, and ugly out? You threw the baby out with the bathwater, that saying. And I looked at him, I said, yeah, I erased them because they hurt me. I erased them. I don't want to think about them ever again. And he said, well, that is why you feel so sad and you feel so empty. So here's your part. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to decorate this house. And I want you to bring good things, good memories, good decorations, good memories in of what you remember about those people. You've erased everything, and no wonder. And I looked at Jesus in my imagination and I said, I'm not doing that. What in the world? Why would I do that? And I said, the good gets infiltrated by the bad. I can't do that. That is ridiculous. And he looked back at me and he said, well, then you're not going to get better. I can only do so much for you. I gave you free will. I need you to do this. Think about it. If you want to do it, then do it. If not, you're going to be where you are. I left in my mind and I'm frustrated and I'm thinking, gosh, this is ridiculous. Why would he think that would make me feel better? It's going to make me feel worse. Well, so I ended up going to bed that night, sleeping on it, getting up and thinking, okay, well, how would I do that? I just don't know how I would do that. So my friend and I would get together and we start talking again. And I tell her about this little vision or imagination that I had. And she says, I think you ought to get some decorations, like little knickknacks that remind you of these people, fond memories. That way you can think of things that were good about them and then maybe write down a list of good things so that you can remember those. You don't have to remember the bad, just remember the good. And I looked at her and I said, oh gosh, I just don't know. It seems hard, but okay, I'll do the exercise. I've done the exercise before, but I'll do the exercise. I'll do the work. So I started writing down different things that were fond memories, things that were great. And as I'm writing these things down, I'm thinking, gosh, most of my relationships, 80% of them were great. They just ended badly. I honestly feel sort of bad that I've kept this negativity about these people, even though they might have ended horrifically with great abuse and great trauma. The bulk of that relationship was beautiful. So I started looking back through and I said, my best friend Jenny, who was a girl that I was just attached at the hip to until I was about 11 years old when she decided she wanted to be friends with me anymore. Well, we spent 3 years of our lives together having so much fun, like a New Year's Eve party where we got to stay up all night and drink sparkling apple cider and watch TV. And every Friday night we'd go get pizza and watch Donnie and Marie and all these crazy things that we would do together. We'd play Barbies together. We'd ride our bikes together. We'd play tennis together. And I thought about all these things and I thought, gosh, I just sort of erased her. That was a lot of good stuff in 3 years. And just because it ended badly with her dumping me doesn't mean that I should just give up all the beautiful stuff that occurred. And then I started looking at basically my ex-husband, the one that just totally like emotionally abused me to the point where it was just awful. But I look back and I think, gosh, he was real romantic. There were so many different romantic things that he did. The way he proposed to me, gifts he would buy me, trips he would take me on, things that he made sure we did to make life interesting, things I was usually interested in that he made happen. So many different things. He got me my little animals, and one time we had a pet raccoon, and he let me have that in the house. And I had 2 dogs, and he'd take me to animal shelters and wildlife rescue places to see animals because he knew I liked them, all kinds of things. And I thought, gosh, that guy was horrible at the end, and he was horrible a lot during our marriage. But overall, there were a lot of great things that guy did. So I sort of shocked and I started thinking, well, what would I get? What could I do? For my best friend, Jenny, that I just sort of talked about. I'm not going to go into every person in my life, but I'll go little bits and pieces. Who broke my heart, my first heartbreak. I got a bicycle, an outdoor yard ornament that was a bicycle because we rode our bikes all the time. And for my ex-husband that let me have that raccoon and raise it, I got a little raccoon yard ornament. And it just sort of sits there. And when I look at it, it reminds me And for several other people, I bought just different items that represented them. One of my husbands, I've been married twice. One of my husbands, he always had a toothpick, and I bought a toothpick holder because I always would tease him about his toothpick. And it helped me sort of remember fond memories of him. And then I just told myself when I started to go to that sad place, I told myself, let's start reading off all the great things you wrote down. So I ordered all these items. Like I felt like I had to do something very deliberate. And I felt like Jesus had told me to do something deliberate. And I felt like in my earthly house, I needed to put these items out so that my inside house, the heart, was clear and good and in a good place. So I got all these items, and I can tell you once I got the last item, that sadness and angst lifted off of me, and it has never come back. I make it now something I do every time someone hurts me significantly or something bad happens. That's significant, nothing minor. We all hurt each other little bits and pieces all the time and don't intend it. But when it's something drastic or a relationship ends, I get something to remind me of that person. And and it reminds me of the good things about that person. And that's what I hang on to and decorate my heart with, my house with, so that my broken heart heals in that manner. I think it's a interesting exercise. I don't know if you believe in God or Jesus or not, but regardless if you do or you don't, it's my gift to you and his gift to you that I'm sharing this story, and I do believe it can heal your broken heart.